Hi, my name is Sally Barnard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live 888-994-4995, Studio A. And now onto the show. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Monday. Never usually say that, but I think it, so I'm saying it out loud. Okay, so we're in for quite a ride today, I believe. The subject is, Steve, tell me.
Looking beyond the obvious.
That's right, yeah, which is interesting. I know you have quite a few questions, Dawn, for me, because so much is in front of us, but we just don't really see beyond that. We only see what we're limited to see, but there are meanings for so many things too. So anybody listening, please, if you want to ask me a question, just call in 888-994-4995. So here we go. We're in for a nice ride. Questions, please.
So that topic has kind of a greater meaning for you because you can see far beyond the obvious. So could you please explain to me what you see that I might think is not there?
Okay, so I mean, well, I think we all see things. We just don't go into it a little bit more, but my curiosity gets the better of me sometimes, and I've been doing that. I realize now how long I have actually been doing that for. So I think we talked about one time like signs and symbols. So many things have deeper meanings, only we just don't know. So what I'm doing, which is something I never used to do actually, is I like to research certain things. If something, even a topic, I like to go into it a little bit more and a little deeper because we're all learning. We're all here to learn, so I'm learning. And that's basically really what I'd like the show about. People see anything or they feel that it might, our gut will tell us sometimes that, the obvious, but sometimes it's a little too obvious. There might be something more that we're missing behind what we're seeing. So that's what hopefully the show will go that way with questions.
How did you come up with this topic, Sally?
Well, I think I did because the last couple of days, like when Steve is out of town, I like to watch YouTube and I like to do more of what I actually never used to do, which I just said is researching. And I was listening to one person on there and they were talking at depth about something, and I had heard this man before talk, but I said to myself, and I could stop, I need to know a little bit more about this. So I went into not only what he was saying, I went into my own self to go a little deeper into what I was looking at. So to me it became more obvious for myself that I needed to do this. I needed to do more of my own research. I don't like to do too much also because I'm getting someone else's point of view. So I go with a lot of with my gut that tells me, but I also like the validation because possibly I've been doing something and not done research, and when I go in I hear exactly the same of what I've been thinking, and I'd never even heard of that before, whatever it was. So I guess we get messages that we're energy to go to everybody.
So what do you think it means to look beyond the obvious in everyday lives?
I think it's going deeper into what we're looking at. I mean, I've always, for years, way before 11/11 became like the thing, a lot of people see, we're talking about Lionsgate too. I was just seeing 11/11 all over the place about 25, 30 years ago, and nobody knew at that time what the heck I was looking at. Mm-hmm. So but then when I began to start in my own mind, not looking because there was nearly nothing to read about it, even on the internet, I was beginning to meet more and more people that were seeing 11/11. So it wasn't just me, and suddenly it had a deeper meaning. And then I found out that there was a book written by Solera who wrote 11/11. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. So my thought of seeing 11/11 turned into, today, so many people talk about 11/11. And I went in and I bought the book, and I learned. But today I learn much more from that book because the more and more that I've got into the fact that 11/11 exists and it is something, I've learned more and more and more because we never stop learning.
But how do we know if there's really something below more to what we see below the surface or to take it at face value?
Yeah, that's a very good question, but I think we have to do what we have to do, and that's go with our gut feeling, because if you feel that you want to research something or you see something, it could be from another lifetime we might see something and we recognize something and we have this feeling. Then we can go in, and I think somebody's beeping me. Hi. And then we research it. But if it goes nowhere, I used to do a lot with my girlfriend Marita, who I don't see as much because she doesn't live near me anymore. But I would say something to her, and then I'd say, where in the world did that come from? And at that point, I would go into Google, and I would see exactly what I needed to know. And that happened many, many times when I used to be with her.
Like sometimes if you see a movie and the person with you is like, oh, that was a really good movie, but then you see a message.
Yes, definitely. And sometimes, again, it's all going with your gut instinct, actually. I think if you follow that, it kind of lets you know that you're either on the right track or on the wrong track, actually.
You've often said the signs are all around us. What signs particularly are around us that most people don't see?
Well, I mean, I can only go for myself, because I've looked into the things that I see, and then I feel that I'm not alone with feeling that way. In other words, I'm going back to the numbers. I thought I was completely out of my mind. I would sit up in bed at 11:11 and I would be in a sound sleep and suddenly sit up. So I realized that had to have some meaning of some kind for me, but then I realized it had a meaning for a lot of people. The signs also are put there for us, but we don't see, because there's a lot of mystery in this world. A lot of mystery, let's put it like that. And for many people that may understand what I'm talking about, they'll know what I'm saying, that they leave signs for us. And, it's like a joke. Ha ha, we're here. So.
Well, in particular, we could be sitting watching TV in the living room, and you say something deep to me, and at that very time, I look at the clock and it says 11:11.
Right.
Why did that happen?
It just does. I think it's there to show us that there's a meaning behind a lot of things. That's just one little thing, though, 11:11, but we've seen it many times. I'm going to say got over that now, because I know that a lot of people know that. It's validation. It's actually validation, I think.
But I think there's messages in so many things. I was out for dinner last night at a random restaurant, and there's a younger couple sitting next to us, and she has this incredibly high-pitched voice, enough so that you turn around to see. And she was lovely with her husband and ordering, and she kept talking to the waiter, having this great conversation, and her husband says nothing. And the waiter leaves, and he must have said to her, why do you talk so much to him? Or she said to him, why don't you say anything? And she says, truly from her heart, there is so much joy to be had with his high-pitched voice, so much joy to be had in meeting new people every day and everywhere you go. Don't you see it? And it actually made me think about, Freddie, why we do what we do. And I felt like this was just a message, and I was going to talk to her, but the waiter kept coming back because she was now engaged with him to have a conversation. But I thought, wow, what a message to hear just on a random night.
That's a beautiful, beautiful message. And, sometimes what we find sometimes irritating, it's not. It's there I'm just suddenly coming to me. It's there for us to see, for a purpose. So what I might hear something and I go, oh boy, that's annoying. It's not annoying, it's grabbing our attention. And I think that's a lot to do with it. I'm just seeing that right now, actually.
Right, so it was the attention, but what she said, I thought, wow.
But yes, because you heard the most beautiful message. So there's always, I believe that everything, not even just bumping into people, conversations, where we go, what we do, it's up to us to go into it a little bit more. But I think a lot is not random. It isn't. It's put there for us.
I agree. To hear the message.
I have a question. If people don't see signs, does it have a lot to do with self-confidence?
If they don't see the signs?
In other words, if you have self-confidence, are you going to see more signs?
Yes.
If you're not self-confident, you're going to see less signs?
To an extent, that could be correct,
I
actually.
mean, this is
think
the
so,
theme of
yeah.
what you're talking about. What is
Yes.
obvious is not obvious.
But that's exactly right, and you're right, because if you don't, it's again of what we were talking, Wendy, is believing it. So I could have looked at many things that I look at today and not take any notice, because maybe I'm thinking, well, I wouldn't know what that is, which would be a sign of not having the confidence in me to be able to go and research that, or not trusting my gut instinct to know that I should look at it more. So yes, it's a lot of how you feel. I love deep conversations. Was I always that way? I don't know. But to me, I get a lot of joy of talking about something. I'm not bringing politics into this, but certain things. And I like now, for later on in my life, I like to do a lot of research on what I'm listening to, which I didn't
People
do.
will mistake signs for coincidence.
Well, it depends where you are in your life and your
This
journey.
is my point. My question is, one's confidence in oneself, to believe and trust your feelings.
Right.
Does that allow you then to go to another step and be more, what's the word? To be able to view more of the messages, the signals, the things around you that will.
Yes, because you're
Yes.
trusting yourself at that point. If you're
So
insecure,
which is first?
first is the first would come with not trust. You'd feel the difference, and gaining more access to what you're thinking. I think the word access is important, because you need that access in you to then start off a chain of being, because otherwise you wouldn't know what to access. So you see something, and that starts a chain of a lot of things going on in your life. And then you can start to what I call synchronicity. The coincidence is there. You'll look at them as synchronicity. It was planned, but not everybody starts a journey. Not everyone starts in this lifetime. It depends when you start that journey. You're going to see more and more, because the more you have coincidences, you have many, you look at them differently, and you call them synchronicity. Once you start your journey. We're all on a journey, but once you realize, I think the word is once you realize the awareness of your journey, more and more things they happen all the time. We just don't know they're happening until you begin to wake up a little bit.
But how does one begin to look beyond the obvious? I mean, you're here, that's obvious. That camera is there, that's obvious.
Right.
Wendy's there, that's obvious. But what's behind all that? What,
A vast world of magic, I'm going to call it, because that's what it is. It's magic. There's so much that we don't know, and we are our own worst enemy, Steve. We put obstacles in our way. If we would just open up, it's not all just like I'm going to have a good day or a great day. We need to really believe that we're going to have a good day. We can manifest. Anybody will say, oh yeah, sure, we can manifest, I want this. But you have to, if you do it and you manifest and you say, I know that's going to happen, it happens. It really does. But we're our worst enemy. We don't see that it will happen. Belief is so important in anything. It's not just, we say we believe in religion. It's as long as you believe whatever it is, and then you're going to see more. You're definitely going to see more.
So, like with me, when I decided it was time to open up my mind to accept the things that I never saw before, things became much clearer for me.
Yes, because you're expanding your consciousness. That's what the word I feel that I want to say. You're looking beyond just our short space of our visual, what we see. I see this room, but there is so much more in this room that I don't see. I see it more now because I've lifted my vibrational energy. There are so much more. And we can all do this. It's not just me, but we need somebody to tell us sometimes, you can do that. And you can talk to somebody and they're not going to believe it. But once that person says you can do it, and then they start to believe it, then you'll open up to a very big world. Right now, we can only see what we can see, but there's so much more.
I agree with you, Sally.
Thank you.
I would like to piggyback what you're saying. Everything that you're saying, I'm picking up. You're absolutely right. And to take the point a little step further, it's like me with the truck this morning with the lions on the side. Somebody else not in tune would have totally missed that.
Exactly. They wouldn't have seen it, Wendy.
So this is like an invitation. I feel, thank you for answering that question. I think it's an invitation for people to see what exactly am I looking for? Are they passing by driving with, oh my God, this truck's in the way,
Right.
without realizing that there's something there?
Right.
So you're absolutely right.
And actually, if you put your finger here, now you're seeing your finger, okay? I don't.
Yeah, I'm doing
Okay.
what you're doing.
And I'm not really seeing the rest of the room.
Right.
But once you begin to understand that, and when you raise that vibration, there is so much more. I remember coming back again from my friend Marita, because we kind of started our journey together many, many years ago, and I was driving maybe about a half an hour. Suddenly, the words, and she would verify that if she was listening, and I didn't know that I knew all that I know. I was just beginning my journey, and suddenly the words came to me, and the words were, "We don't go anywhere." So I said to myself, oh my gosh. And I don't even think we had I had cell phones at that time. I called, I said, we don't go anywhere. We don't go anywhere, but we go into some things. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. So much more than what we can see. We only open up, there is so much. It's a game, we're playing a game. And the more you expand that consciousness, the more and more that you'll feel it and you see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you have to start your journey, and I started mine later in my life. But I was so happy with what was happening to me that I continued it. A lot of us stop. Once you start, you stop. But if I can do anything on this show, is to encourage people to realize there's so much more, so much beauty here that we don't know about. We're all so advanced. We just don't know we're advanced because we've been told that we only use a little bit of our brain. Come on, there's so much more. And then our DNA, they call it junk DNA. It's not junk DNA, it's there for us.
I agree.
How many people say, oh, you don't need that, it's junk.
Yeah. Nope.
It's strange.
Mm-hmm.
But when you begin to open up, you begin to see all this. I can't really move my neck, so if
Those
anybody sees
connections.
me,
Yeah.
hopefully,
Yeah, those connections.
Do recurring patterns in relationships, careers, or our lives carry messages that we should pay attention to?
100%, 1,000%.
1,000%.
Yeah. Yes, because because we repeat things until we get it, and that shows up. It shows up a lot in relationships with people. We repeat and repeat, but what we're doing is we may be repeating with somebody different. And again, somebody different, because we're learning a lesson, and a lot is to do with karma of things we don't even remember, but from other lifetimes. And there, my voice goes again. You told me something about that, right? Mm-hmm. So we repeat it until we have learned that lesson. With anything, it's with anything.
How do we know if we've learned the lesson, though?
When it stops repeating itself.
How do you know that people don't influence what you're learning?
Well, they do, absolutely.
And not always for the positive.
Exactly, absolutely. Goes
So where
both
do you
ways.
stand?
Well, to begin to understand this, Freddie, if you realize that everything is repeating and it's all going in a negative way, whatever it is, or the person is always negative, then you begin to see that. So you see, and if you want to research more, you'll see a pattern of that. You'll say, well, you know what? I had this same situation maybe could have been a week ago, it could have been 10 years ago. It seems to be repeat. Why does it always repeat itself? People say that, done that, it's repeating itself again. Well, now you're beginning to wake up to the fact that it's repeating itself and it's not pleasant. If it's pleasant, let it continue to repeat itself. If it's not pleasant, you need to stop that. You need to look at it, you need to understand it, and then stop repeating it. Because you now become aware of what you're repeating. A lot of people don't even realize it. I know I've done that many times. I don't realize I'm doing the same thing over and over again.
Yep.
But I'm beginning to wake up to that in all aspects of my life. It's taken me a long time. But that's what I chose. Whatever we do in this lifetime, we've chosen. And that can be from good to bad. It's hard to understand that when we get a lot of negativity. Well, we're choosing to learn. We're choosing to learn. And if everything was good, we wouldn't be learning our lesson.
Well, how do we become more observant of the lesson without overanalyzing?
Well, if it's bothering you, then if something is really bothering you, then you need to do something about it. And it's easy to say. They say, well, how can I change that? Yes, you can. And it's lessons for me too. I can change many things, and I know better when something's bothering me to keep doing it because I'm talking about it. Main thing is to discuss it. Have a conversation with yourself. It doesn't have to be in front of the people listening to me. I have to say to myself, oh, yeah, I don't like that. I keep repeating that. Then it's up to me to do something about it.
Because some of it be insecurities.
Absolutely.
So maybe nothing more than an insecure.
That's very possible because you're insecure of your next move. Because if you're doing something and you say, well, if I do something about that, this may happen, and you're bringing in more negativity.
And fear.
Change is good. And if you go with an attitude that change is good, I absolutely today believe that that will happen, and you will, whatever your change is, no matter what it is, if you want it to work out to help you learn, no matter what it is, and you want positivity, then you have to make a change if you're doing something negative, whatever it is, even if you're eating something.
Even if it's cooking, like my egg white
See,
pancake.
I just said even, I said we are on the same, I said even if it's eating.
Right.
What about if it's changing your circle of friends?
Well,
Yeah.
yes, but if you feel that you're in a wrong crowd, and many people will do that when they're in recovery, they'll suddenly change their friends because whatever their addiction is, they'll say, I was hanging out with the wrong people. But you've got to be able to see that, Freddie, before you do that. So you've got to have, and recovery is a good way of explaining that.
But this leads me back to my original question about
Okay.
how much your insecurity plays in seeing what's in front of you.
Well, it plays a big part because if you're doing something that's destructive, it's usually coming, not always, but from some insecurity you have with yourself because you don't want to change it, because you don't have the confidence in yourself to change whatever. It could be anything because you're saying, well, if I change it, I don't know what's going to happen. Well, once you say those words, you don't know. But if you have some sort of it's raining.
Yep.
Yeah. If you make up in yourself, well, if I change and you look at good things, then more likely the good things are going to happen. But you have to be very secure in yourself to make that change. If you're insecure and you're going to think all negativity, then you're going to bring in that. I mean, I made a tremendous change coming to this country. I came with nothing from everything. I had no idea where I was going to be, who I was going to meet. The only thing I had going for me is that I could speak the same language because I was from London and I'm in America. Well, I didn't know where my path was. I had no idea. But I must have had some sort of inner confidence in myself, which I didn't even know. But I would have really been stupid if I didn't believe that. Well, I didn't know. I had no idea. I had no intention of even coming to Florida. I was going to California. I landed here. And I've stayed here ever since. And that's many years ago.
Oftentimes we're influenced by things we hear and songs we hear, like Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror was very big for me. I'm looking at the man in the mirror, I'm telling him to make a change.
Right.
And that was very instrumental in helping me make a change in my life. And once I made a change, that allowed me to open up, to listen, and see the forest through the trees, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And I was open to learn from you.
So, yes, because now you're gaining, even if it's that much confidence in yourself, it's that much more than you had when you were going through what you were going, because you've decided. It takes confidence in yourself to make a change, no matter what the change is. It takes confidence. You've got to have something. If you're very insecure with yourself, you just stay where you are because it's the easy way out. The hardest way out is to make that change. But for it to be okay, that's the best thing to do. Mm-hmm. If you don't like something, you can talk about it all you like. But if you do not change, it's never going to change.
You don't do something about it.
You've got to do something about it. Yeah. I mean, I'm a good example of change with my food. I'm gluten and dairy free. Do I get tempted to eat something that's gluten, especially dairy? I love desserts. But then I think of the consequences of what I might have if I take a bite of that. It's not worth it. I might do it. I'm not saying I'll never do it because that's not a good thing to say either. But I know what my consequences will be if I eat something that's not good for me.
Exactly.
The same problem can be said about believing in somebody, in something that they've brought forward. I mean, you look at the presidency, and you thought it was going to go in one direction. and now it's going in the opposite direction. You have to sort of wonder, because you're the one that allowed that to happen, to bring that to power.
Right.
I mean, you got to sort of be real about yourself and be accountable for your actions as well. Because
Yes.
sometimes, as you said, some things appear as they are not in truth. But we have to be able to look ourselves in the mirror and pay those consequences. We have to be true to ourselves, because
That's where it takes courage. That's where it takes, that's that secure in yourself to be able to even do that, which brings us back to you. If you don't have that confidence in yourself, you're not going to have the confidence in moving forward. You've got to have a certain amount of confidence in yourself, no matter how small it is, that you know it's going to work. It's not going to work because you'll never take that first step.
that was going to be my next question. So how do you get that wind back underneath your wings?
Because it's a feeling. I was a shy child, and people say, well, how are you shy? But came out in different ways, because as I was saying, in school I was always on detention, but that might have been for attention, in other words, because I was I had friends because I made a point of being good at sports, and I was very good at sports, and if you were in sports in my school, you were popular. So I did it that way. But we all have secure things. I knew I was going to be good in sports, and that's what I picked. But I was not good in, say, maths or spelling, because I'm dyslexic. So I knew that. But I've overcome that to a certain point now, because I have enough security in myself to know that I can read out loud, which is something I could never do for many, many years.
So you
Because
found
see
your
words-
entry spot. You found your entryway.
I found it, but you've got to know it also, because if you don't know it, you can't find it.
1000%.
So confidence comes with knowing yourself, knowing your limitations is also, because we have limitations. We're here with limitations, but overcoming, you can't maybe always overcome all your limitations, but you can make a start with the easy limitations, and then you're getting more confidence in yourself to take the next step to another bigger limitation. That's how it
But
works.
sometimes you get the wind knocked out of you because you saw one thing, you believed in that one thing, and that one thing ends up being the wrong thing.
Well, that's how we learn, though, Freddie. Because
But there's learning,
it's
and then there's
learning.
living.
Yes,
And then there's
learning.
pivoting.
Absolutely. But
Or
that's
maybe
all-
not. What if you don't know how to, Sally? It's easy to
Right.
say that, but maybe
Yes.
you don't know how to pivot.
But understanding that, just understanding, you don't always have to move forward with what you're beginning to understand. Move forward when you're ready to do that, because you can have your limitations because it's always been there. So take something, and you'll say, I'm going to take me as reading out loud, okay? It was a limitation that was very difficult. When you're dyslexic, you see words differently. And as a child in school, I didn't need glasses, but when it came to me to read something, I had to do it. But I'd say I'd forgotten my glasses because I couldn't do it. I knew I had a limitation there. They must have thought, why does this girl always forget her glasses? But that's what I did. When it came to spelling, I saw things backwards. I couldn't spell. So what I did is I took that, and we had to do a composition, say in English. I got very good, because the words that I couldn't spell, I reworded that whole thing, that whole sentence. So I became very good at wording things because I couldn't spell certain words. You've got to know your limitation before you can get better.
All right, you want to take?
You can't make a change unless you make a commitment to yourself to do so.
Exactly.
It's like the old joke, how many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? One, but the light bulb has to really want to change. You have to really want to change.
Absolutely.
You have to want to change. You have to want it. And in order to want it, unfortunately, because we're living in a world that's negative and we have bad things happen to us, the more negativity that we dig for ourselves, basically, it's harder to get out of it. And that's when they say you've reached your rock bottom. Actually, you have sometimes. Unfortunately, can have some really bad consequences with that, but there's always a way out of it. You've just got to understand that it may not be the way you want it all of a sudden, because I don't even believe that would happen right overnight. You've got to work for it. You've got to put your time in with what I'm doing, with what I understand. This did not just happen to me. When I began to see it happening, I worked harder at understanding, and I still am, and I still will do this till I pass on.
It is the belief, I believe. It
Right.
really is where you go in,
Right.
where the entry points is that belief.
Exactly. And the hard, it gets harder the deeper you go down, but you can still get out of it. You can.
All right, Sally, want to take a commercial break?
Yes. I think the thunder's telling me to do that.
A true story, Call Me Zena, is the telling of Sally Barnard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came into the U.S. in 1979. A mother of 2 and a grandmother of 4, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the 3rd dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest into art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed a paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she is able to astral a project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life and direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today, authorhouse.com and amazon.com.
Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Barnard, and you can find my book at authorhouse and amazon.com or visit my art on my clothing in my boutique at artbysallybarnard.com. Now back to the show.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome back to my show. Okay, I love these questions. questions.
Why are some people naturally more sensitive to energies, signs, or things that others don't even notice?
Because they've started their journey, Dawn. I think the more that you begin to see this, or, it may just take one little thing, a synchronicity, which we thought was coincidence, to open you up. So you start expanding that consciousness and you begin to dwell more into it. I'm going to have to look this way.
Look at Wendy.
Yeah, at Wendy, I'm fine doing it that
There
way.
you
But
go.
so I'm listening to you, but yeah.
It's funny because people just say, "Oh, I wake up now and it's 333," and I think, but we've moved on from the 3. But for some people, they're just now awakening to a 333.
And I think that's
Exactly.
very good, those numbers, because it does get you to begin to awaken. I mean, I saw the 1111, which I was talking about earlier, many, many years ago. But it actually took me to actually sit up in bed and look at my clock when I'm in a deep sleep. How in the world does that happen?
Yeah.
Because I was meant to. It's just an opening point, actually. It's to get your awareness. I believe any of these numbers, we can attach to it what we want. I read her book, and she had written many books, and I began to relate with it. But it was to anybody, if they were seeing 333 and they read 1111, they would still relate to it. It's an opening. It's a door. What it is a doorway.
It is a
actually, just
doorway.
like Lion's Gate. It's a doorway. It's a portal. Whatever you want to say.
It was wonderful when I learned that the date of my sobriety was not just a date. It was 11/11. It was
Yep.
a very amazing date.
Right,
Wow,
right.
that's
Yeah,
why.
it was on he didn't know anything about that until we met, and I happened to mention the numbers 11/11. So.
And what role does fear play in keeping us focused on what's obvious or familiar?
Plays a very big role, Dawn, because if you're fearful, you're not going to go beyond that fear. You have to have some sort of awakening. It could be anything. It could be a thought and someone comes out with the same thought. It could be the phone goes and you're thinking of something and then that happens again. But fear keeps you fear-based. So you've got to open up, even if it's that much. And then you start to, it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, suddenly somebody doesn't get all this, and I certainly weren't nowhere near getting it all. But it's little by little by little. Again, I've told my story many times of how Aldo appeared when I needed him, because I was flying all over the place. I didn't know you could do that, but I had the night before with that. So,
Again, that's the perfect thing of what's not obvious. Here's your coworker, obvious. You
Yep.
work with him every day, obvious. The unsuspecting is who he is to you in a past life, and then in this present life that
Yeah.
you had.
But you see, it even took that. He knew me and worked with me for a year. I didn't know I knew him. But when I had my first astral projection and I'm flying around, he knew that he could present himself to me, because now something out of the ordinary, which was really out of the ordinary for me, happened to me. I was wanting to know, well, how in the world did that happen? I was flying. I didn't know any other word for it. I was flying and I was seeing things. But he was there. He would not have been the night before I had that. He wasn't able to tell me
So
that.
if he were here today with what you're feeling, whatever it is that you know you're feeling, would he give you a message that would change the way you're feeling?
Well, I'd be much more, yes, because I've often thought about some of the things that he would tell me when he was around and actually talking to me in physicality. And some of the times, and he knows this, I can't be bothered to go through that again and again. But a lot of the times, obviously, I listened for hours. But there were certain things, I've heard that before. No, I hadn't. Because today, when I think back on some of the things he was trying to tell me again that I wasn't bothered with, oh my gosh, would I love to be able to talk to him now. Well, I do. But, in physicality, because it's
Go and have some coffee.
Okay, so
Yes,
he's giving you this message of talk to him like he were here.
Yes.
And he will help you with what you're going through now.
Absolutely, I believe that he has. I believe he put me here because I mean, I'm here. This is everything that he would have wanted me to do. So, it took that much to open up, because if you think that someone knew me for one whole year, he knew I wasn't ready. How would that even be possible? Mm-hmm. So the day before, he may have been sitting right in front of me. I never said 2 words to this man for 1 year. But the moment I have something that was so significant that I couldn't deny that, and he's telling me exactly what happened to me in my flying experience, which I thought was a dream, but it seemed pretty real to me, and he's explaining to me step by step my whole dream, but never would have told me that if that hadn't have happened. So I was ready. And I mean, I was really banged on the head with this readiness, because one of my messages was I was going to get some crayons and to paint. Well, I never painted in my life. He knew all that, because he knew I wasn't ready to know when I first met him. And had that not have happened, I might never have met Aldo. He waited for me to be ready, which has a tremendous significance today for me. Tremendous.
Absolutely. I wanted to add a little something when we were talking about number sequences. Sometimes, in my experience, it's not only about the repeating numbers, it's also a birth date. Like, there's times that I'll see my birth date, and I'm just like, okay, I got the message, but what are you trying to tell me?
That's exactly right.
Activation. So
Yes.
it could be any number of
and
things.
it could be a song, on the radio.
Exactly.
It happens to us many times. And Stephen, I called him Stephen. Steve can certainly validate that. Because
Exactly.
you're thinking of something, and it doesn't even have to be a person. You could be thinking of a particular thing, and the song is all about what you were thinking about.
Absolutely.
Speaking of birthdays, Aldo passed, happened to be on my birthday in 2021.
But they didn't know each other.
And I never got to meet him, but I think it's significant in some way that he died
Yeah.
on my birthday.
Yeah,
Connections.
yeah.
Absolutely.
He's probably, let's bring this up, he's listening. See, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, nothing that we do, it's silly and it sounds very ridiculous to say is by coincidence. I believe that all that we do is planned, and some of the things that we do we don't like is planned to make us wake up eventually, and we may take people here listening to this could take another 3 or 4 lifetimes.
Yeah.
It's up to us to see that the unknown becomes visible. It
Yeah.
becomes visible because it is there. It's absolutely there.
Yeah.
Right, and there are people that look at us and what we talk about, and all of the things about aliens and past lives and all the other things we talk about, and they look at us like we're nuts.
That's all right.
And what will they need to get that kick in the head?
May not be in this lifetime. But you know what? I just say it's a shame because they don't know what they're missing. But I can't teach people that don't want to know, and I don't want to, because it's not good either. If they're not ready, you're forcing them to be on a journey that they're not ready to be on. So it doesn't really matter what you say. If they think you're crazy, okay, get on with your life, that's fine. But there is so much more. And I get pleasure if somebody says to me, oh yes, asking me another question. It could be the smallest thing. But if they're starting their journey, I am there for that person. And I think anybody like us is, because we want to show them that there's so much more. But you can't teach someone that doesn't want to be taught with anything. You just can't. I thought I could, but I can't.
Yeah.
I had no idea I was ready to start my journey until we got together, and so many things happened that
Yep.
I had no other explanation for than it was out of this world.
Well, and people, when I first met you, I was talking to people, and they said, well, if he's in his life and he doesn't believe it, he's going to be in for a big ride, a big surprise.
Yep.
They would tell me that.
I would say that we have some NPCs in our midst too.
Yeah.
So, there are people that are going to be in our midst that are not ready for this anyways. They're not meant to. They are unactivated.
But again, it's still not coincidence, because it could be something from a previous life, and we meet the people there. But,
1000%.
we still have free will. We still have our choice.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
we're all individuals, and yet we're all connected.
1000%.
There's a lot of meaning in that, actually, right?
Absolutely.
Steve, starting your journey at your age is different than Sally starting her journey at the age she started with. How does it feel to you to just be doing this now?
I feel blessed to be able to do this and to have a new purpose in life. There's the rest of my life that I cherish, but this is moving me forward to a greater place and a greater understanding.
Has it changed the way you see things?
Oh, absolutely, 1,000%.
And I just want to, not to interrupt on that, but you know what? We don't learn what we forget. So even if it's the last day of something here in our lifetime and we learn something, that goes with us. And actually, Aldo told me that, and it had so much meaning, because he quoted Einstein. And apparently when Einstein was on his well, I don't want to say deathbed, he was ready to transition, he said something about now he got it. And he said it didn't matter, because now he got it here. Whatever it was, I'm not sure exactly, and someone might look up what was Einstein's last words, I don't know, but it was something similar to that. And he said that's okay, because he got it in this lifetime. He got it. Yeah. So you can bring it back into your neck. You don't have to. I had it for 2 lifetimes when it was dormant, because Aldo knew me in other lifetimes. But you don't forget what you learn.
I have many regrets in my life, and one of them is that I never got to meet Aldo, and another one is that I didn't get this kick in the head until much later in life.
Doesn't matter, Steve. That's what I'm just talking about. Yeah. It doesn't matter when you wake up. I haven't woken up completely. There's so much more, because we continue learning. But I've woken up enough to know that there is so much more, and to pass it on, because that's part of what we do too. If someone is interested, I would never turn someone down if they wanted to hear more. It's not an obligation by any means, but it's a pleasure. It's an act of being able to do a little bit more. I don't claim to I know that much,
right?
But I'm grateful that I do, and gratitude is really important too.
Absolutely.
What's the difference between seeing something in physicality and knowing something?
Well, because it depends on where we are too, because if you see something in physicality, it's easier to validate. But to know something, that takes trust, which we were talking about earlier. Trust in yourself that you know that that's what's happening. But it's much easier. In other words, let's use me again as Aldo, poor Aldo, I'm so sorry, as an example. I hear him. But am I 100% certain? I know I do. But if he was standing there, what he taught me here, I know I was, because he was talking to me.
Right.
It's really no different, but it's a trust that we have within ourselves.
Yeah.
And we're talking a lot about Aldo. If you want to know more about
Poor Aldo
and all of Sally's story, please get her book, Call Me Zena. You can find it on Amazon or Author House, or you can scan the QR code that's on the screen right now.
I think Aldo would tell you to trust within yourself. You know what you need to do.
Yes, and that comes with how we, I believe, started the show, with the confidence in yourself. It's all part and parcel of the same thing. Because in order to trust yourself, you have to have confidence in yourself. And if without the confidence, you're not going to, because people can look at something and say, like I've started to do research, I can't be bothered, I'm not even going to understand it. But if you have the confidence and the desire to understand that, you're going to look at that research in a completely different way. You're going to say to yourself, oh, that's great, let's turn the next page. I can't wait to hear more. Or listen. It's easier to listen for me, actually, than read. And I'll listen to more of what I've just been listening to, because I have the confidence in myself that I will comprehend it. If I had no interest in it, I wouldn't. That I know too.
I think a lot takes looking beyond the obvious. Like when I met you,
Yeah.
right? There were so many similarities
Exactly.
that if we didn't look,
Yeah,
you would be a client who's here with a show.
that's right.
That
Dawn.
would be, right? That would be the obvious that we all
Yeah,
see in
yeah.
physicality.
Yeah. I have to
Don't
look
turn.
at you. I have to. It's just something, even if my neck hurts. Yes, exactly. And I felt that I knew you, but if I had no confidence in myself, I'd say, well, that's ridiculous. How does she know me? How do I know her? But because we both felt the same and we both had enough knowing in ourselves that we had met each other somewhere, we persevered with that and we talked about it and we've come to a lot of conclusions. How wonderful is that? I'm going to have to turn back.
Turn back.
Yeah.
So when people dream things,
Yeah.
do you think that's like a premonition sometimes as to what's to come?
1000%, because that's our subconscious working. With what we see, and this was explained to me too. I can't keep mentioning Aldo. He was the one that explained a lot to me, because I was ready to listen, but I was able to comprehend it because I was ready. But our subconscious is basically what we take in here. So when we go to sleep, we may see something. Oh, I saw that, and I saw, because it's what we've seen. But we have what we call a super consciousness that goes even further. That could be from other lifetimes, from other things. So dreaming has a big part in our life. If you think about it, we dream a lot. We're here for many years, or however long it is, but we dream, and dreaming is a very big part of this. Very big. Imagination is a very, very big part of our lives.
You use the word knowing a lot. What is the difference between knowing and knowledge?
A big difference. Knowledge is, and knowing is something that you feel. It's a knowing inside you. Knowledge is what we may be reading from someone else and not have the same feeling, and they're giving us that answer. The answers lie within ourselves, and that's a knowing that we have. Thank you, guys. That came from them for sure.
I want to add something, if I can, to what you were saying, to the effect of when we're dreaming. I'm of the opinion that when we're in the mundane, sometimes there's just too much going on, and some of us will receive message better when we're asleep and the physicality is out of the way.
Exactly, because we put our brain, our mind aside.
Exactly.
So what's happening is our subconscious, because it's all consciousness that's
Exactly.
happening. It's our the words explain it. Subconscious, super
Below our
consciousness,
conscious, yeah.
right? So if we look, I'm looking more into words today than I did, because words have so much meaning. And I've been saying things for many years, but never really realized the significance of a word. But it's important because we communicate that way.
1000%.
And they have deep meanings sometimes that we
Yep.
don't even realize.
Yep, absolutely.
It's so fascinating.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
And I find it fascinating that it's raining. It's kind of like cleansing things
Always
away.
happens a lot.
Sound
on
like
this-
Freddie.
Yeah, cleansing things away. That's so funny.
It is, because we're in 8-8, right?
Yep. Making space for the new.
Yep.
Sally, what's one experience in your life where looking beyond the obvious completely changed your understanding of what was happening?
My very first experience, because I never came back the same, was when I had an experience and it changed me forever, is that I started to astral project. I was out of an ordinary thing. I left my body. I didn't know you could do that. I had never heard stories about it, and suddenly I'm not in my body and I'm flying around. There was no denying that. I knew, but I didn't know what was happening to me. And then meeting Aldo within 12 hours of that happening to me to tell me what had happened. I never was the same again. Never. And I was on the beginning of my journey.
Nice.
And we all, not just me, we all have different things that will begin to wake us up. It doesn't
switch.
always happen. We'll wake up, we'll have something, but it had to be very profound for me. Sometimes it doesn't have to be that profound.
Absolutely.
For people to wake up. If everyone could see beyond the obvious for just 24 hours, they wrote in, what do you think would surprise us the most?
If we could see, which is really, I think aliens landing here, truthfully, they have done, but we don't, they're there, we see them, but we don't. So suddenly, if they could suddenly say, look, we're here to help you, the majority of them, we're seeing something that we've seen, but suddenly we see it. So come on in.
Does 1111 mean something to you and Elizabetta, but that's not Elizabeth.
Yeah, it's not Elizabeth. It opens doorways. Any of these numbers, angel numbers, whatever the significance is. I happen to know more about the 1111 because it was written in a book completely in the beginning before anybody knew that. And she wrote a lot of things that I began to open up to. The invisible, one chapter in that, which I knew nothing about, it's coming to me right now, is called The Invisible Becomes Visible. And that's a wonderful, wonderful saying, which is in her very first book. She's written many books. But that particular one, the invisible becomes visible. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. We're expanding. I love this word, expanding consciousness. I can't say it enough, but because that's what we all need to do. We only see what's in front of us and in our view.
Exactly.
We need to say there's more up there, or out. It's not even up there. Actually, it's all here.
Exactly.
We can say up, down. It's here. We just see more. As we learn more, we see more. We hear more, which is happening to me. We see more. We can do more. I flew. Who ever heard of flying in this lifetime?
Yeah. You dial into a different frequency, into
That's
a deeper
exactly
frequency.
right. Yeah.
Yep.
Did that fall by accident?
No, I moved the chair.
Oh, I thought it was.
The obvious, the physicality.
That was
of
the
what it
obvious,
is.
right?
When something doesn't work out the way we planned, how can we look beyond the disappointment to see a different purpose?
By changing your point of view on it, by going and having confidence in yourself that it doesn't have to stay that way. Change. I can't say that enough. I need, sometimes myself, I'm stuck in things, and we all complain, that's normal. We all see psychologists, that's why they're busy, or psychiatrists, because it's good to talk stuff out. But if you don't do anything about it, you're going to spend the rest of your life being in therapy, talking and talking. One day you might say, this is the insurance run out. It's costing me a fortune. Let's do it a different way. Just waking up to whatever that is.
Yep.
And knowing more of what you think you might know.
There's so much more, but if you don't make that move, you're never going to find out in this lifetime. Just know, believing and know there's more. That's all you really, the two words. Just know there's more and believe that there's more. And you'll find your life will start to change no matter where you are in this life. If you're happy even, just know that happiness, hope we're all happy at sometimes, right? Can get even better. They'll say, I'm so happy, how they couldn't even get any better. Don't even say that. You're happy, it'll get better. Or I'm so unhappy, it can't get worse. Well, if you say that, it's going to get worse.
Absolutely.
So is that the message here to people who can't see beyond the obvious, is that they must believe?
Well, you have to believe to see, really, because if you don't, you're going to just think you're making everything up. But if you believe that, anything we make up, anything, even things when people have an idea on something, that can turn into something, like somebody makes something and suddenly it's selling all over an invention. I couldn't think of the word. When that happens, somebody else the other side of the world can have that same thing happen too. So it's energy going out. It's energy going to everyone. Depends where you are ready to pick it up. And to pick it up for you as part of a journey that would help you. Someone else might get the same thing, but it wouldn't be part of their journey.
So seeing beyond the obvious could be different for many people.
Well, yes, of course.
Some people can think it's, it has to do with extraterrestrial life. Other people might think beyond the obvious is going back to past lives.
Correct.
So there are different arenas.
Well, at different stages in our life, we believe different stages of things. If someone had talked to me about aliens, maybe, well, I mean, I was seeing them, I just didn't know what it was. But I did believe it. I thought, oh my God, I hope I'm not going to be abducted. I was scared, but I was a baby, so I was scared. I didn't know where I was going to be taken. Today, because I've gotten over that, take me. I love it. I want to remember. It depends where you are, and they've done that. So
Yeah.
So I'm proof for myself. I don't really have to prove that to anybody. That's another thing. I believe what I say. I know what's happened to me. I don't expect, well, everybody in the room does because we believe that way, but I don't expect someone in the street, I tell them, oh, I was abducted. Guess what I saw? I don't expect them. They don't have to believe it. I know what happened to me, and it's not far out. It's okay. They're here, and that's what happens. The fear will stop it.
Exactly.
Let me ask you, does Elizabeth have any messages for today?
She's going, I love this show. She's going, you're right where you're meant to be, Dawn. I don't think you're going to hear anything more from her.
Now, can you see Steve's guides?
Well, probably if I was tuned into it. Yeah, I don't see anyone right now.
No
But
one?
I'm tuned into Elizabeth. So she's always around us, Dawn, especially on the show. I mean, I can give you names and people but I have to tune
You
in.
have to tune
I
into
can
it.
turn off. Obviously, I'd be going crazy. Anybody, you can turn this off.
Absolutely. I feel like there's people coming in and out for you at any given time, for you and Steve. At any given time, it's like the door's open and they're coming in and out as they need to.
But isn't that for everybody? We just don't know it, though. I mean, our guides, and I mean, I agree with exactly what you're saying, but just from our point
It's
of
different
view.
standpoints and depending
Yeah,
on where
and
everybody's entry
depending
points
who comes in and out for where we are on our journey.
Absolutely.
I mean, if I tuned in now, and Elizabeth is a very good example of that because she's always around you, Dawn, and she's more for you than me. But she sees you're not making mistakes. But I got a good saying. Don't take life so seriously. Stop it. Okay? That's Elizabeth. Stop
Lighten
taking
up.
it so seriously. It's all going to work out, and it is working out, and it always does work out. Stop taking other people's responsibilities.
Yeah, you're your
Stop it.
own hardest boss.
Yes, you are. It's not that you shouldn't do it, and if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But don't take it so seriously.
Or as the police in London used to say, stop or I'll say stop again.
All right, you ready to wrap this
Yes,
up?
we are. I am. We are. Okay, thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this show. Okay, I'll see you all next week. And please, if you want my book, Call Me Zena, is right there. Buy it. You can ask me the questions. That's the obvious. The obvious is my book is there. The second thing is I'm sitting on the show. How better to be able to talk to me about something that's in my book?
Absolutely.
And the QR code.
See you next. The QR code is there. You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Barnard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybarnard.com. Join us next week